the Troy Kearns podcast, where we talk about all things real estate, business, entrepreneurship, and yes, we go down the rabbit hole. I am here with my good friend, Jason Wheeler. He used to be an agent for me, and then he went and he traded out for another good friend of mine, Ryan Pineda. At that point in time, Ryan and I weren't friends as much, and Jason and I definitely weren't friends after he left me for someone else. He's a super good guy. He's an expert fisherman. He's a real estate agent for a long period of time, and recently he has become a cryptocurrency expert. Jason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Troy.
So, you started texting me and you're like, dude, I think you should have me come on and, because I hate crypto. And so you said, I see that you hate crypto. I want to have you come on and talk about that. We're going to talk about that. So if you guys are interested in cryptocurrency, I'm not a big fan. Jason is an expert. We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, what your family is, where you grew up, how long you've been in Las Vegas. Let's just get into who you are.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right.
Okay. Well, you know it, but I'm Jason Wheeler. I'm 49 years old. I've been living in Las Vegas for about, 18 years now. I'm a licensed real estate agent.
How old are you?
49, dude.
Man, you're getting old.
I know.
That beard is crisp.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. I should shave it. But yeah, so I've been licensed as a real estate agent since 2001, starting in California. I actually started in 1997 in mortgage, and been flipping houses for a couple years.
Okay.
And started to get into cryptocurrency in about 2017, but I'll circle back around on that. My folks actually moved out to Vegas a couple years ago, so they're out here now.
Okay.
I have considered relocating, considering some other spots, but maybe keeping a base here. Just trying to kind of keep my options open. So I'm not really totally sure.
So you've been selling real estate in 18 years in Las Vegas. When we met, it was actually kind of funny because I don't even know. Like I probably sent out one of those emails or something.
Yeah, I think I might have gotten your emails.
Okay. And then you contacted me, and I think I told you read this book and get back to me or something, right?
Yeah, I think you did send me emails, but I knew who you were because I was seeing your name come up on a lot of listings when you were doing REO. So I knew you were one of the guys that I wanted to talk to.
So you were shopping for a new agency.
Yep.
And we hung out for what? You were there for 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I think 3 years.
So 3 years. So Jason and I worked together. When he turned it on, he turned it on. And when he turned it off, he turned it off. That's what I would say about you. When you wanted to go, it was go. And you wanted to not go, it was not go.
Yeah.
But he's a super capable guy. He sold a lot of properties when he was with me. I probably would guess more than anywhere else.
It's probably true.
So, and then when we parted, there was a little bit of an issue on your end with me.
I don't think so.
Okay. Can we talk about it?
Sure, if you want.
Okay. So I think let's get into some juicy stuff first. Okay. So because I think this is an important deal. If you're out there and you're investing in real estate deals and you want to talk about walking away from your earnest money, this is a good situation to talk about. So Jason brought me a deal, a really attractive deal. So he had been on there. He saw me flipping houses. He's trying to make some moves. And so he's scraping Craigslist and he finds this freaking cul-de-sac, Seminole Circle, where 5 of 6 houses are owned by one dude. One of them was a Johnny Carson house. One of them was somebody else's house. You might know.
I don't remember. I just remember the Johnny Carson.
So one of them was Johnny Carson's old house. I think one of them was actually a famous boxer's old house.
Okay.
And, the cul-de-sac was right off Desert Inn, which if you're not in Las Vegas, Desert Inn is a major thoroughfare. It's one of the only thoroughfares that does not have to pay attention to the I-15. So it's almost a quasi freeway. So, we looked at the numbers. Jason put me in the deal. I think we pinned it down for what, 1.1 or 1 million?
Gosh, I don't even remember, but I think you got in lower than that.
Right. So it might have been a little bit lower than that. Obviously today that would have been a good buy, but
yeah.
Right. But so that was what, 2016 or 17?
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
So anyways, Jason brings me this deal and I'm looking at everything and I'm really evaluating. We got 3 houses that are under 2,000 square feet and we have 2 houses that are monsters.
I think you came in at 900,000 and got it in contract.
Okay. So we had it under contract for 900,000. I don't remember exactly. Obviously I didn't close on it. So I don't remember 100%. So Jason, he had, I don't even remember what your fee was, but you were wholesaling the deal or I was going to pay you somehow.
Yeah.
So anyways,
we were going to work that out.
We were going to work that out. I got cold feet, or I would say I got my instinct that said, walk away from this deal.
Yeah.
So I looked at it. I had just been nailed by the city of Las Vegas for doing something without a permit. A big lesson there. Right. And so was like, I'm not running into that again. And I knew that this was on that property was exposed to all the elements, meaning that like they had so many homeless people living in those places. It was crazy.
Remember when we walked through it that one night in the dark? It was all nobody there but us and the flashlight.
I love doing that.
We hopped the fence and everything.
What did we do? Let's go through that.
We hopped the fence and we walked through all of them.
Was it just me and you?
Yeah, I think it was just us.
Okay. Yeah, we just went down there. I love doing that stuff.
It was crazy.
Well, because when you get a property in contract, you want to start scaring everybody off.
You know what was funny about that was like normally if I did something like that, especially at night in Vegas, I would have been a little bit spooked. But I was with you, so I was like, I'm with Troy. He's crazy. Like no one's gonna be crazier than him.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that a little bit. Yeah, I just like that adventure stuff.
In a good way, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. No, I don't mind the crazy part. So anyways. We're going through the deal. I start going through the numbers and I'm just like, man, there's nobody like, because everything is price per square foot. And I'm looking at the 3 deals. I'm like, I'm definitely going to make money on these 3 deals, but these 2 are going to sink me. Mm-hmm. These 2 are going to turn this whole deal into bad. I'm like, nobody's paying $800,000 based on these price per square foot to live in this house. And I looked and I'm like, the most somebody's ever paid was $450,000 on that street ever. In that area. And I passed on the deal and I had put $20,000 down in earnest money.
I think it was 10.
No, I lost 10. I think or I lost 5.
Yeah, I don't remember. But we tried to renegotiate, which was totally fine.
We always try to renegotiate.
Yeah.
Standard operating procedure.
That was fine.
We tried to renegotiate. We tried to knock him down, I think $100,000.
Yeah.
Or something like that. They ended up saying no. I ended up backing out, losing half of my earnest money. Jason got salty and said, I'm out of here, right? Is that what happened?
I don't know if it was just that.
Well, probably that on top of a couple other things.
Yeah.
So Jason, but listen.
I was ready for a move. Just like by the time I came to your brokerage, I was ready for a move. Like the place where I was at before, it was definitely extremely stale. I was talking to that broker a bunch and I kept saying that I was going to move and I was going to move and I was going to move. And finally that broker was like,
you never even told me.
Yeah. He was like, you probably need to move, dude. It's probably time. You keep telling me you want to move. You got to move. So I was like, okay. And that's when I found you. So, but by the time, I left the Troy Kearns group, it was a good move for me.
For sure.
But coming to the Troy Kearns group was definitely a really good move for me, for sure.
Good.
I learned a lot from you and, a lot of it was just perspective change too.
Sometimes it's all you need.
Yeah. I could give you a little story real quick, but
sure,
shortly after I had started at your brokerage, I met a gentleman at the DMV who ended up being a listing. I don't know if you remember that guy, Gilbert.
Yeah, I do remember Gilbert. That was a fun one.
Yeah, that guy was kind of
a crackhead.
I don't know if I'd call him that, but he had some issues going on. I'm pretty nice. He had some issues going on.
He was definitely on something that got you moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had some issues, but what was funny about that one was I met him at the DMV. I kind of prospected him. I gave him my card and stuff, and then he hit me up like 3 weeks later and was like, "Hey, do you know anybody that can help me out with a mortgage loan?" Blah blah blah. He had all these issues, so I went over to you and I was like, "Hey, do we know anybody who can, handle this mortgage loan for this guy?" And you're like, "Dude, you need to go list his house and sell his house." And I'm like, "Well, that's not really exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to do this." And you're like, "No, you need to list his house and sell his house. That guy doesn't really have these options." And that was kind of like a shift and a switch for me where I was like, yeah. So anyway, I ended up selling that house and I sold it to my dad. My dad, I don't know if you remember.
I do remember. Yeah,
my dad
1031.
Yeah. And they ended up moving into that property like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. So they live in it right now?
But they fully renovated. It's gorgeous. They did it to the nines.
That's awesome.
It's really nice. But that was just an interesting story because that was a shift for me.
Just the way you were thinking.
Just the way I was thinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
This guy came to me and, he wasn't going to get a mortgage loan.
No.
And that's what he needed to do. He needed a downsize. He was living in that property that he had, gotten a divorce from his ex-wife and was there with his dad who was sick in there, and it was too much house for him. And it was just time. He needed to downsize, and we ended up getting it done and sold him another property.
It was a pretty bumpy ride on that one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think he almost went haywire a few times. Didn't he say he was going to show up at our office a few times?
Yeah, something like that. Do you remember we actually put that property in contract for, I want to say at the time it was comping for like around 320, 330,
right,
but it was in pretty rough condition.
We put it in for 270.
I think we put it in no, my dad bought that house for 272.
That's what I remember.
But we put it in contract, I want to say for like 290 or 300 or something. And it was this couple that absolutely loved the house. And then he, started having his chemical issues or whatever. And I don't know if you remember, but he decided he wanted to back out of the transaction.
I do.
We went temporarily off the market. And then he came crawling back like 3 weeks later. He's like, "Oh, I really need to sell this."
Right.
And then we ended up getting that deal at 272, and it was a good buy.
So then you moved over to Ryan Pineda's office, and I think that was a good move for you. You kind of bought into it, and you've had some really so you're from California. You've been living in Las Vegas for the last 18 years. You've been selling real estate in Vegas for the last 18 years, and you've been going through a lot of changes in the last, let's call it 5 or 6, 7 years. Are you married now?
No, I'm not married.
Okay.
No.
But you have
I'm with the same one that I met, like Mary, right before.
Yeah, you met Mary.
Right before I left your brokerage. So
right.
We're still together.
You're still together with her. And
we have a kid, a dog.
I'm like, no, this is brand new. This is brand new. I didn't even know. When did this happen?
Yeah, I had to hit you with that one.
So you're with Mary, and you also just told me the other day that you became a full-blown what?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You gave your life to...
Oh, yeah. I'm a Christian. I gave my life to Jesus.
Okay, that's what you said. You said you gave your... And I would say that's probably Ryan's influence, right?
I actually came to the Lord like around 2013. But I think at the time I didn't necessarily have as much of an understanding as I had by recently, like really starting to devour the Word, the Bible. Because if you only go by like what you hear out there, which is all these different things from people who are mostly disgruntled and different like sects and cults of whatever. I mean, people are turned off by a lot of religion, and so. For me, it was really about really diving into the Word. I have like the audio Bible where I listen a lot. And I mean, I really enjoy listening to it and learning.
Great. So that's been a big change for you, right?
Yeah. I would say, being around Ryan and being around his brokerage and a lot of other Christians definitely like kind of reignited that for me. I wanted to make some changes in my life. And, so, I mean, he definitely...
Can we talk about some of those changes?
He definitely played a positive...
Can we talk about some of those changes?
Sure.
So you have mentioned before that you like to smoke the hibs and the dibs.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
No. So,
how long has that been?
I don't even really know the time because I don't really keep track.
But it's been a long time. You were smoking for years though, right?
So, I actually started smoking weed in like 1997.
Right.
And by right around the time that I started smoking weed, I was just graduating from college. So, I mean, I made it through high school and college and never touched the stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that in high school.
Right. And I mean, I saw it in high school, but I just didn't do it. And so, I mean, I got to a pretty high level with my weed smoking.
What's a high level?
I mean,
let's talk about it. People want to know. There's other people out there. You've been successful. You've had quite a bit of success, and you haven't really pushed your full limit. And I think that's what we've always talked about. I think if you push your full limit, you're going to freaking run the tires off of anything, because when you lean into something, but a lot of people have the same struggles that you were going through. So let's talk about what your intake got up to.
Well, just while I'm thinking about it, I was just saying the other day, I was talking with Mary because we were actually watching a church service where it was talking about the rebuilding,
right?
Like when Jerusalem was knocked down and the people were led into Egypt. And then when they eventually came back, they realized their city was trashed, and then they had to rebuild. And the sermon, the guy was talking about rebuilding. And by the time it was over, I told Mary, I said, things have been really rough for like the last, ever since this COVID crap started.
Right.
And I said, but I feel really good about the fact that I already started rebuilding like quite a while ago. And I said, things are going really good. Like new deals are popping up and new people are popping up. And like, things aren't perfect. I'm far from perfect. I like, if people knew all the things I've done and all the things I've said, I would be super ashamed and embarrassed. So
well, they're going to know after the end of this podcast, man. We're going to get it all out of you.
So, but no, like, so as far as weed,
we're going to put some zappers on his nipples until he tells the truth.
I think that as far as a high level, the amount that a person consumes, is.
Were you smoking in the morning?
I mean, yes, but not like immediately.
But I mean, after your coffee.
So I'm 49. I started doing that in 97, so I was 25. So I mean, it's been like 25
Were
years.
you a daily smoker?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so you're a daily smoker. Yeah. Were you going through like an 8th a week?
I would say,
an 8th a day.
I would say no. I would say usually, and it varied over the years. You know what I mean?
Right. Sometimes you're doing a lot. Sometimes you're doing a little.
And I quit many times, right. And I always kind of went back to it, and but I would say by the time that I just recently quit, I was probably smoking maybe a quarter of an ounce a week. Like every week I would be going back to the dispensary. Like I would go weekly, like on the Tuesday locals day, whatever. And like,
well, that's good to know that you're a budget conscious weed smoker.
Oh, for sure. I'm thrifty just like you. I'm like that.
Yeah.
So, but it was like, and it's kind of weird. I didn't know we were going to talk about any of this, but and I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
Because actually Mary and I just went to to Mesa Park on Saturday, and when we got to the park, we pulled in, and there was a guy training Malamute, and the dog's awesome and doesn't care about our dog, but our dog's pretty high strung. And then there was a puppy Rottweiler coming up. So I was like, hang on. She sits in the back seat with the dog. And I was like, hang on. Before I popped out, I wanted to wait because our dog goes ballistic, right? So anyway, we're sitting in the car for like a second. And then finally, we finally get out. We walk all around the park. It's about a 10-minute walk. And we get back to the truck, and we're in the truck. And as I approach the truck, I'm like hearing some noise, and I'm like, what's that? And as I get closer, I realize the truck's running. So, I mean, and Mary was like, you really should consider maybe doing something with like your videos and stuff where you actually talk about cannabis addiction, if you want to call it that, and also just the consequences of what it can do to your memory. Because, it could have just been that we stopped for a second, and it could have been my truck's pretty quiet and she didn't hear it either. But it was like I came back and my car's still running. And
so your memory was going to crap.
My memory has definitely taken a pounding. That's part of the reason too why I quit. I was like, man, my memory is.
Here's the deal.
My brain would be broke.
Here's the deal. If something, I think I haven't drank since 2007. I am not a perfect person. I partake in some activities, but you got to know what works for you. And if that's
it worked for me pretty good, and I'm glad I don't drink, because that was like be a really bad thing for me, And I mean, I'll say it. I love smoking weed. I wish I could get away with it, and I wasn't affecting my, my drive.
Well, we're having Elon Musk on later, and he's about ready to puff a. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna
Did you ever see what he did that with Rogan?
Yeah, on Rogan. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so let's get into what we did come to talk about. Okay,
let me give you something real quick.
Sure.
I brought you a little gift. And because you mentioned several times, why don't you do your fishing rods? So I brought you a WMD Customs hoodie. This is an XL. I got a double in there. I think this is going to fit you.
This will fit me fine.
It's pretty
I'm
big.
Actually down.
You look good, bro.
I'm down to the larges.
Yeah, it's got it on the sleeves too. So anyway,
I'm going to wear it for the rest of the podcast.
Go for it, bro.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
sure.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you're doing what I talked about doing.
So I've had this is actually the last one. No. So I started building custom fishing rods around, I think 1990. And I still do them like very, very rarely.
Nice.
Somebody will hit me up and say, hey, will you build me a swim bait rod or whatever? I don't like to say no, so I'll do it. But it's not.
Let's zoom in on that for him.
Yeah. People can check me out at WMD Customs at Instagram.
Yeah, if you guys want to follow Jason on his journey, I think it's a pretty interesting one. It's actually a very interesting one. He's starting a little bit late, in my opinion, but he's turning into it. And I underestimated Jason a little bit in the beginning, and he proved me wrong, even with a book. I don't know if I remember. I gave you a book, the Frederick Eklund book to read.
Yeah, that was a good book.
Yeah, and I was like, read this book, come back and talk to me. I don't think you want it that bad. And then you did it. You're like, I'm gonna show this guy. And you did it. And you're just one of those guys that you just gotta be challenged. And once you're challenged, it's like it's on. Yeah. You're an expert fisherman. recently you've been following some of the stuff I've been talking about, and you said, hey, I want to talk about crypto with you because I just don't think you understand it. And I was hearing you talking to Jason Abrams just in there. I'm like, shit. Or I'm like, shoot, I've got my work cut out for me because he actually does understand it.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into it because I want you to convince me why I should invest in crypto. But before we do that, if you're not subscribed, if you're not 5-star in this video, or if you're not 5-starring this podcast, if you're listening to this on the podcast, we're working for you over here. We're bringing in guests that are going to provide you super good knowledge. Do us a big favor. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Follow me on all my socials, Troy Kearns channel, on the podcast, just Troy Kearns channel. And definitely give us a 5-star review on this podcast so we can grow it, bring on more guests like Jason that are going to help us educate you so that you can make good investments. And maybe crypto is your thing, and that's why he's on here. It's not my thing. I'm not going to talk about it. So I'm going to bring somebody on you who's going to educate you on it. And if you're trying to find out what Jason's up to, Jason, how can they find you?
Well, the WMD Customs on Instagram is one of them. And then
WMD Customs. What does it stand for?
Weapons of Mass Destruction.
Weapons of Mass Destruction. Did you get that from Judge Cheney? Or George Bush?
I mean, they were talking about it.
Never found any, dude.
They were talking about it.
So Weapons of Mass Destruction. And those are the rods?
Yeah.
Okay. So they can find you where?
On Instagram, I have a page there where you can see some of my builds.
What about for your real estate and your cryptos?
So for real estate, I just have another page, Buyers LV, that's on Instagram, but I don't really post too much. I need to pick that up a little bit.
So Buyers LV on Instagram, and then you're also on...
I have a YouTube channel.
What's your YouTube channel?
Jason Wheeler.
Jason Wheeler, just like you spell wheel?
Like a wheeler dealer.
Wheeler dealer. So you're a wheeler dealer.
I am.
All right. Tell me why I'm wrong on crypto.
I mean, I'm not here to convince you. I just think that, for somebody who's...
Tell me why somebody should invest in crypto. First of all,
why they should or shouldn't.
Hold on. First of all, let's talk about your crypto investments. What have you done with crypto? We talked about this on the phone the other day. Tell us about what you turned into what and how that went, why you did it.
Okay. I mean, I can tell you reasons why people shouldn't buy crypto. I think most people are probably...
Hold on. Let's go into so that they know that you have the expertise to be talking about this.
I mean, in 2017, when crypto was pitched to me, like literally within 5 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, this totally makes sense. I totally get it. I mean, doesn't it make sense? It's 2021. Doesn't it make sense that you're going to be somewhere and you're going to go bump, 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 done? Yeah. You're not going to use it. How old is credit card technology?
Well, I'm 100% with
50
you.
50 years old?
Right.
50 years old,
well,
credit card technology.
So what did you turn into the deal so we can talk about that so we know? So you made, how much money have you made on cryptocurrency?
So, I usually only talk about that with like friends and family. So I guess the whole world's going to...
Has it been several $100,000?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all we need to know. And what did you invest to make several $100,000?
So when I originally I bought, and this is actually funny. I met a dude at a casino with cash in my pocket and did like a transaction and sent it. Where
you did a drug deal at the casino.
Literally, dude. It was hilarious. But so like my first buy-in was $10,000 and I bought 4 Bitcoin for $2,500 a piece.
4 Bitcoin for $2,500 a piece. Did you keep all those Bitcoin?
No.
Okay.
No, I kept, I think I have 4 Bitcoin left. And
what's Bitcoin at today? I know you know the number.
It's funny because it's at 66,000. It's funny because 65,900, which is basically 66,000 is like all time high. And it's funny because I reached out to you, like we were going to do this maybe like 3 weeks ago, a month ago. Yeah. And you could see the market building and it's getting ready to top out, or it looks like it's going to top out here pretty soon. That's why I hit you up and I said, hey, if you want to do this and you want to be relevant, we should hurry up because the market's getting ready to do stuff.
So that is why we got you on there, because not only are you a friend of mine, but I think you have been pushing the crypto thing. So you invested in crypto, and I totally agree with everything you just said. Number one, do I agree? Do I think that crypto is going to be the next thing? Yes, I do. Okay. Why am I not investing in it? Well, I'm going to tell you about that, and then you can convince me why I'm wrong.
Okay.
So first of all, what is your exit strategy for crypto?
I mean, I actually plan to probably sell my Bitcoin holdings, hopefully here within the next few weeks, if we can hit a number that I think, based on some of the chart analysts that I follow, technical analysis, I expect Bitcoin to maybe top out somewhere between 70 and 80,000.
All right.
And if we get close to that point, I'll probably sell those Bitcoin and be out.
So your exit strategy is selling only?
No, I mean, I've been holding for a long time. So I bought the first 4 Bitcoin for 10,000,
right?
And I went back like a month later and bought 4 more. So I bought a total of 8 Bitcoin for 20 grand. That was my buy-in.
Okay.
And then maybe like about a year ago, I got turned on to XRP, which is a cryptocurrency that's associated with Ripple Labs, which is the parent company that's in a huge lawsuit right now with the SEC, because the SEC wants to start to regulate crypto because this is going to be a thing.
100% it's going to be a thing.
Yeah. And so I think I maybe put like 25 grand into an Uphold account. And then I bought XRP. I bought XLM, which is stellar.
Doge?
No, I didn't buy Doge.
What's the other one going on? Ethereum?
Ethereum. I did buy some Ethereum and I did sell my Ethereum. I don't have any Ethereum holdings right now.
But so your exit strategy, at my point, is there is only one.
Only one what?
Exit strategy.
Well, I bought it in 2017.
But there's only one.
I bought it in 2017 and I've been holding all this time.
But what your only exit strategy is to sell. To get out of that deal, you can't rent out crypto.
Correct.
You can't Airbnb crypto.
Right.
And if crypto goes to zero, you go to zero.
Right.
So you're buying an intangible asset that could go up in value, that you have seen go down in value.
Oh, yeah.
And that if you understand the time speed of money, is holding on to your money and waiting for it to go up is the absolute worst idea, in my opinion. Although looking back on things, like you're like, God, I wish I would have held on to that house, or God, that was, if I would have held on to that stock, I would have done it. But making money, flipping real estate, selling things is about turning your money. Right. And with crypto, it's about holding your money and waiting to make the right bet. You're making the right bet. And I just don't like the fact that you got one dang exit strategy. And this is coming from a guy. And I look at crypto the same way I look at the stock market.
Right.
Okay.
I do too. Not like real estate.
Right. You are betting on something happening. And I think that there's a lot of these cryptos. Let me ask you something. Could you start your own crypto?
Yes.
Okay. So
I actually wanted to do that with a partner that wasn't into it. Should have done it.
Well, I will start my own crypto with you. I would do that because I would be a fan of that, because I would control it and it would be a good one. But I believe there's a lot of bad actors out there starting their own cryptos. Most of them are. Yep. You know how I know it's a lot of fake and BS? Mm-hmm. On every one of my TikTok comments, I have to block people because they're trying to push crypto. Like they're fake bots that are trolling, and they're posting, and they're like, "Hey, Michael Beatty gave me," and this is obviously not a real name. Michael Beatty is the guy I follow for all my crypto advice. He made me so much money, and you're like, "Okay, block this person." You go to their thing,
like betting, betting gurus.
Yeah,
similar.
Yeah, so I just feel like because of the exit strategies, it's really just a bet and wait.
Well, no, there's a lot of people that are day trading it, and I chose not to do that. The reason why is because
so you could day trade it. I guess that's
absolutely,
but you still got to exit.
Absolutely, and I don't. Every time you do that, you create a taxable event. And I got in early enough, and I can see what's happening. For me, I just took the long-term approach of just holding.
So what's your strategy? What's your strategy not to pay taxes on that income that you're about ready to make?
I mean, there's no avoiding taxes.
Yes, there is.
You're going to pay it eventually.
No.
Okay, well, the government's is trying to regulate it, and that's why they...
But right now, you can avoid federal income taxes. You can't avoid all taxes.
Don't sell it.
What?
Don't sell it. That's how you avoid it.
Just keep that's not true. With real estate, you buy a building or something and you do accelerated depreciation.
Right.
And then you can defer it. You can't eliminate it, but you can't defer it.
Right.
So, all right.
I'm pro real estate. I'm pro flipping. I'm pro holding real estate. I look at it as these are two completely different investment modules. You know what I mean? So, and you got a lot of money. You could have easily thrown in 2017 when we were telling you about crypto, You could have thrown 100 grand at crypto, like not even thought about it, just been like, bleh.
I was into crypto in 2013 and I couldn't buy it. There wasn't any access to it. I was trying to buy Bitcoin when it was like at the low.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anybody to sell it to me because it was a gamble. I do believe it is a gamble still. But I thought at that point in time it was going to be a good gamble. But I've made several gambles that haven't worked out. Like I still own GoGo In-Flight. Let's take a look at what that's out right now. Because
I have no idea what that is.
It's the Wi-Fi in the sky? Like you get Wi-Fi in your when you're flying?
Yeah.
Well, they were like the number one place. Like when you went on a Delta, you went on to Alaska, you went on to everything but Southwest. It was go. And I'm like, and so I'm getting all the Google alerts. I'm feeding my brain. I'm like, this is going to be the next big thing. It's Wi-Fi in the sky. Who's not using their phone? What doesn't want access to internet? Everybody's going to be paying for it. And their speed sucked so bad and their prices were so expensive that it never went anywhere. I've sold most of it, but I saw it was, I'm not really paying attention to it, which is the terrible thing about the stock market. When you don't pay attention to it, it can crush you. With real estate, if you don't pay attention to it, it's like, whatever, I mean, it's not going to crush you.
There's not a high amount of volatility in real estate.
I am glad I held on to this thing. In fact, hold on real quick. I'm going to tell them. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. It went up a lot. Look at that. So for you guys, if you guys want to we're going to put the GoGo In-Flight, but it literally was, for most of my trading time, it's been around like $4 or $5. It's now up to 19. I bought it at 17. Then I bought it at 13. Then I bought it at 9. Then I bought it at 4. And I've sold most of it, or I haven't sold most of it, but I'm about ready to sell most of it right now.
You're going to dump it?
I'm going to dump it all right now because the price is right. So I'm glad I just looked at that. Thank you. So, okay. So you like crypto. Why?
To me, it just made sense that this is the direction that money will go into. And this is kind of like what they're calling this is the internet of money. It just makes sense that this is the direction that we're going to be going in the future as far as how we're going to spend money, how we're going to transact. And to me, I felt like I was getting in early. Today we're at an all-time high in market cap for the entire space. And last time I checked, we were at like 2.89 trillion.
What's the market cap?
2.89 trillion. That's the total money in the entire space, which is literally like you probably have that much in your bank account.
Shut up.
It's not that much money. 2.89 trillion. It's less than 3 trillion in the whole space.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen when 100 trillion goes in?
But hold on. What's it based on?
Okay. So I told you I was bullish on XRP. XRP is a cryptocurrency that you can actually use to spend. So Bitcoin, if you read the white paper on Bitcoin, it kind of has already failed to do what it's supposed to do.
What's the white paper?
The white paper is like a 5-page, roughly, document that was put out that explains how Bitcoin works and what its purpose is. And it was written by Satoshi Nakamoto, which is not a real person.
So he doesn't exist?
Probably not.
Okay.
He's probably somebody else.
So who do you think is really controlling Bitcoin?
I don't know. It could be...
Do you have any...
It could be the government that created it, or their whoever.
Do you think it's Elon Musk?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know that he was the original cryptocurrency guy?
Yeah, wasn't he affiliated with PayPal or something?
He started it.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, he's that sharp of a guy. I think he's got a chip in his head for sure, 100%. He's got a chip.
You think he put one in?
Well, they're working on a chip, so why wouldn't he have like the original prototype? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you know he almost used to be bald?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of him.
So, do you think I should get hair plugs?
No. I think you do good with what you got.
I think I'm gonna get them, dude.
Well, if you want to get them, get them.
I was just thinking about it. The only hate I get on like YouTube is like, you're bald. And I'm like, I'm gonna take that away. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, how long have you been rocking no hair?
I've been rocking no hair a long time, but I liked having hair.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. And how much will grow in if you let it grow?
I don't know.
I just got the outside, or
I think I'm gonna like. I talked to my wife. I went and got it. I honestly went. I'm not insecure about it at all. I'm actually probably more. It's probably more ego driven with me not doing it than it is with me doing it because of like, oh, you're going to have to go have like 95,000 conversations, especially if you do it on YouTube or you announce on podcasts that you might do it. But I just figure, you know what? Why not go get the consultation? Why not go see what it's going to look? Everybody looks better with hair. Generally,
you can afford it, dude. Go for it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna at least get the you know who I brought it up to the first time?
Who?
Ryan.
He's got a lot of hair.
Yeah, I was sitting at the Raiders game with him, and I'm like, I'm thinking about doing this. He's like, just do it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because I brought that up to my buddy John a long time ago, and I was like, would you ever, like, when I got those things, this is like 10 years ago, when I went and like got the appointment to do the thing, I'm like, would you ever? And he was like, of course. And then I look at like Elon Musk, and I'm like, he looks good,
really
man.
good.
He looks good. He doesn't look good,
Do it, bro.
Yeah, that's why I'm definitely, if I'm saying it right now, it's probably something I'm going to look into seriously, because why not? I'm trying, like, I've been heavy, I'm dropping weight. So why not? Yeah, thank you. So like, it's like, why not improve yourself? Why be in your way and say, oh, I'm just going to be bald for the rest of my life? I'll at least consider it. I don't happen to mind being bald. It's very low maintenance, but having a good head of hair. And here's the funny part. This is the funny part. So I'm looking at my father-in-law and I'm looking at my brother-in-law. They all got full heads of hair, but you know why? Because they got it done a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they got it done a long time ago. And a lot of guys, here's what actually did it for me. I was watching this movie, the new movie with Kevin Costner on Southwest Airlines. I don't remember even what the movie is, but it's like he's this cowboy out in the middle of the woods, and like he's saving this lady. And anyways, I'm like, his hair looks good. And you remember him on Dances with Wolves? So he had little hair or whatever, that Water World.
He had long hair.
Yeah, but he was like thin, real thin.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right. I'm not a movie star or anything, but when you see your face on camera, it's not the camera has 10 pins. You just realized you had 10 more than you realized.
Right.
You've dropped a ton of weight.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
You know what's funny is I actually, like right now I'm like 172.
Yeah.
But I was literally like a month ago I was 153, but it was after I got COVID. So I was walking around about
I just had it.
It sucks, huh?
I got down to 187.
I got down to 153, but then, man.
No appetite, right?
Oh, dude, I couldn't eat for 15 days. Literally, the amount of food I ate in 15 days, I could eat it in one day.
Yeah.
So I was walking around. I was really light, but then lately I've just been eating all this Halloween candy and stuff. But
that's what happened to me.
I feel good, though.
Same thing. Like the minute I dropped down, I probably didn't eat for like 4 or 5 days, like nothing. And were you sweating like crazy?
No, not too bad.
Yeah. So it wasn't that. It was. I mean, honestly, it wasn't that bad. Other than just like, whatever. But like, not eating, and I was like, that was encouraging. The scale's going down like by light years. And then the minute I got off, I was like, I'm ordering every piece of pizza I could get. I ate like literally 3 quarts of ice cream, and then I went to New Orleans, and that's just an eating fest. And I came back out on the scale, and I go, okay, time to go back to the old way.
Yeah.
So going into crypto a little bit more. So would you say that if you're a new investor, this is the problem I have. Guys like Graham Stephan, guys like whatever.
Who's that?
He's a YouTuber.
I know who he is.
Okay, he's got like 3.6 million viewers, and it's fine if you're making $6 million a year doing YouTube.
Right.
You can afford to gamble on crypto.
Sure.
And if you have money because you flipped houses and you have extra money, you can afford to gamble on crypto. But it is a gamble.
Totally. I agree.
Okay.
I mean, when I made a $20,000 buy-in, I was kind of like, if I lose 20 grand, it's not going to like make or break my life too much.
Right.
That wasn't, it wasn't a huge investment.
But what if you're brand new?
You're
following this guy, Graham Stephan, and I
don't recommend it for noobs and people that don't have
noobs.
Noobs. I don't recommend it for people that don't have discipline and don't have any knowledge in the space. And right now,
what if they got tons of discipline, tons of knowledge, but it's their first investment?
I mean, they should be smart and realize that the market's at an all-time high and don't buy tops.
Okay. But what is the value based on? Like a stock, the value is based on a balance sheet of what the company is worth. You're usually buying debt. You're usually knowing what's going to happen. What is Bitcoin based on?
Well, you were just talking about that stock that you just dumped. I mean, you bought that because you thought it was a good concept.
Correct.
Okay. But how much income and revenue were they actually going to generate? And why did that actually seem like a good buy?
why it seemed like a good buy for me is I didn't go fully into the financial, so I'll be transparent with you there. But they did, like I said, I subscribed to the Google alert. So any press release, anything that came out before I bought it, right? So before I bought it, before I wanted to know every piece of news that was coming out with them. And I noticed that they were buying all their technology. They were buying everybody else's satellites, and they were making moves, right? And so I saw that, and they were the leader in the space. And then I looked at the share and I'm like, this is just going to keep rolling. I don't see Wi-Fi going away. I don't see internet in the sky going away. I see it only getting better. And I thought, just like you, I'm going to buy. That's why I bought the IPO. Yep. I'm going to buy. I bought that in 2013. So I've been holding on to this thing for quite a while, 8 years. And how much? And I put originally $100,000 into it. How many times could I have? If I'm doing flips and I do 400% on my flips, like with the money I put in based on a loan, how many times could I have turned that $400,000 or that $100,000?
Probably a bunch.
So that's my whole point, is you don't have control.
Yeah, I mean, you have less control, but you actually can transact on some of these, whatever you call them, these platforms, like Binance and Coinbase and all those, these exchanges. I mean, you can sell your crypto and get out of it at any given time. And I mean, there have been a lot of people who've, had some knowledge about what was going on, maybe had a little bit of insider knowledge. So it's based on scarcity.
Right.
It's based on scarcity. So and I'm not super bullish on Bitcoin. I just happen to hold Bitcoin. And I'm almost kind of keeping my Bitcoin as a hedge. And I think Bitcoin's probably gonna, it's gonna be on its way down, and we might have a really long bear market for a while. So I'm gonna be a little bit greedy and hang on to it a little bit longer because I'd like to make a little bit extra money, but I'm gonna probably dump my Bitcoin.
So you're dumping your Bitcoin, but are you going to continue to buy crypto?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not actively buying all the time. I just, I made a pretty good investment that's gone up quite a bit, but even though it's up pretty high right now, I mean, there's been times where the market's way down. And I mean, I've been doing it for so long now that, like, let's say the market is at 65,000 right now for Bitcoin. Let's say I wake up tomorrow morning and it's 58,000. I'm just literally like, my look does not change. Like, doesn't do anything to me, because when it can
What if it goes to 30?
If it goes to 30, then obviously that was a major crash. But even then, I'm not going to sell it at 30. Right. I should have sold it at 50, at 60.
That's the whole point. It's a roller coaster of graphs.
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
Do you feel like you got more control over when you invest in real estate?
Absolutely.
How many houses? So let's talk about, so when you had left my office, you had never flipped a house.
Correct.
And how many houses have you flipped now?
I think I did 8 JVs, and then we wholesaled a couple, and then we probably had like 10 die on the vine. Okay. And then I have another one actually that we just put up on the market yesterday.
Okay, so you're getting active on the flipping, and you're doing that. Are you still selling houses?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are still selling houses?
Still selling houses.
Right, how many are you selling a year now?
Probably not as many as I was at your shop.
Well, let's hear that number then.
I'm kind of trying to go into...
Let's hear that number then.
I'm trying to go into partial retirement.
Okay, what was your best year in real estate? We know.
I'm not really...
We're not going to talk about money. Just
I'm not really...
transactional.
I'm not really that money motivated of a person.
We know that.
You know that.
But you're money motivated enough to inspire...
I know I had my best years at your shop. I think I might have done like 18 deals or something, which was pretty good.
Yeah, right.
It's funny story. Somebody that I know in the business, I won't name names, but we got into like a little tiff like a while back over some stuff. Right. And then the guy was like, "Do you know how many real estate transactions I've done?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, 18. And I'm like, "Yeah." In 3 years, like, that's not that great, dude. I was like, whatever. Yeah. But anyways, I mean,
anytime they say like, you know how long I've been in the business, I go, I don't care. Time does not equal experience. Experience is from transactional.
Yeah. So, I mean, and here's the thing too, is if we can put a graph up, we could put a little, a graphic up, I can send it to you, but I'm sure you've seen them when they make an illustration where it shows the actual buying power of the dollar since like the early 1910s and what it is now. It's worth something like 2 or 3 cents because of the inflation of money, because how many dollars have come into existence.
Right. So we all know that the money system is messed up. We all know that. If you don't know, money's fake, right?
Fiat. Yep.
Yeah. So does anybody know that the Federal Reserve is not the federal? It's actually run by
private bankers.
Private bankers.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that there's just some random people out there starting Bitcoin is not that alarming because we have a random company that's tied into our monetary system, which is the Federal Reserve. But the part that's scary is it's so much quicker to take people's money these days because of the internet. Do you know about NFTs?
A little bit.
I know nothing. Educate our audience about.
I a little bit, very little.
Okay.
I know what they are, but I don't really.
What are they?
It's like a digitalized like way that people can like digitalize art and then sell it. Or so let's say like you scroll through a basketball game from last night. You like basketball, don't you?
Yes, I love basketball.
Okay, so you scroll through and there's like this awesome slam dunk shot, and like every newscaster station plays it. Well, that stuff's like out there for anybody to capture and anybody can possess it. But let's say somebody takes like just the specific moment, right, where the guy's face looks a certain way and he slam dunks it, and then they digitalize that, and then it's like where only that one item exists. So then you can trade that as art, almost like a coin, and then nobody else can ever have it. But to me, it's like, okay, but
sounds like trading baseball cards. I didn't do that well.
Yeah.
I traded a Ken Griffey Jr. card for like 15 or 20. Don and Russ, remember the rated rookies? Did you ever trade baseball cards?
Yeah, I have some baseball cards.
Yeah, I still have mine.
I have a bunch of baseball cards that I bought at a garage sale in like 2007 or something, and I still have them. There's baseball, there's football, there's hockey cards in there.
Yeah, we ought to just give them to my son and have him sell them all and then split the profits.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd do it.
I'm not like, I haven't looked at my business.
Hey, if he'll split the profits with me, I'd actually do it because that's a pretty good deal for me.
Yeah, it's a pretty good deal for me too because I don't have to do anything.
Because if I go take it to a baseball card trader, they're going to want to buy them for like 10 cents on the dollar.
He's a money motivated kid. If he, he's saving. Well,
let's do it.
Yeah. So
just remind me because I'll forget. So, but let me just tell you, just a couple basics. So as far as, what makes it actually worth some money, like why is Bitcoin worth anything? Because of the scarcity of the coins. So I won't pull it up, but there's something like a total of roughly 21 million Bitcoin that can ever be in existence. These things don't actually physically exist. And if you ever see those little Bitcoin coins that they show, those are fake. That's just like something you'd give a friend, but those don't really mean anything. And so there's only like 21 million Bitcoin. And I'm not trying to plug for Bitcoin, but I'm just saying Bitcoin was like the first one and the main one.
So what happens when somebody hits Control-Alt-Delete and just deletes your shares?
I don't think somebody can hit Control-Alt-Delete, but you can certainly lose your coins.
How would you lose them?
I mean, so when you go to send Bitcoin to somebody, if you have one key or digit wrong in the address that you send it to, it would be like sending somebody an email where you messed up one letter of the email and it didn't go to them, and it would kind of go into oblivion. And they actually say a lot of the Bitcoin is that's actually happened, where a lot of it has kind of gone into the black hole. But my point is this: there's only,
how do you get it back?
You probably don't. Which makes it more scarce.
Well, there's another exit strategy for you.
Yeah,
send it to the wrong person.
It's people's own fault for getting into stuff that they don't have any idea about.
Or they just hit the wrong key.
Don't hit the wrong key then. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, hey, you're going to send 20 grand and you go to the wrong address. You might want to quadruple check it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, but there's only about 16 million Bitcoin that have already been mined. And there's a mining process whereby they're made when different computers confirm the transactions and whatnot. But you've only got the money, all of the trillions of dollars that have gone into Bitcoin, you've only got that divided by like 16 million coins, which is a really small number. Right. Whereas what do we have in US dollars? 30 trillion just in debt. Okay. How many more US dollars are there in existence? Quadrillions?
Well, I'm not investing in dollars.
No, I realize that.
Yeah.
I realize that. But
yen or crypto or any of the speculation.
But all your wealth is mostly in dollars or in real estate.
No, it's not. It's in whatever payment. I don't keep a lot of cash.
I understand. But I'm just saying,
so whether we're trading rubles or whether we go to Bitcoin or whether we go to whatever, I'm buying assets that people need to live in and pay me with whatever sort of monetary, because they had this is not the first time. How long has the US dollar been around?
I don't know.
1907, I believe. We could check it right now.
Okay.
We got Google, right?
Do it.
Google. How long has the US dollar been around? Since the founding of the Federal Reserve System in 1913, that's how long the US dollar has been around. So let me ask you something. It's only 108 years old. Did you know that?
Yep.
So what was before then?
Gold coins.
Nope.
Silver coins.
No.
Salt.
Nope.
Clams.
Beaver pelt. No. There was something else. The whole point, they had Confederates.
Right.
They had leak it. I don't know. They had a bunch.
It'll always change, and crypto is going to be the new.
Right.
But here's the problem.
But you know when it's not going to do well? Or you know when it's going to do well? When the U.S. government controls it. And they're not going
They're in the process of it. They're trying to regulate XRP right now. Their SEC is calling it a security, and they're in a lawsuit right now with Ripple.
Oh, did they regulate the U.S. dollar?
Who?
The U.S. government.
Yeah.
What's it tied to?
Nothing.
OPEC. That's the only reason it has value.
Okay.
In 1971, I believe that's the date, Nixon took us off the gold standard.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay. He took us off the gold standard. And the only reason that the U.S. dollar is still the active dollar is because it's typed in there with OPEC that's how OPEC is traded. That's why the U.S. dollar still holds weight. So if crypto gets tied in with the oil or whatever is going to be next, green energy, green that. But I'm not convinced, Jason. You don't have me convinced to buy crypto.
Hey, I told you I wasn't going to try to convince you.
Convince?
I think if you would have made an investment when some of the guys in your shop did in 2017, and you would have invested in the right stuff, you would have made a ton of money. And along the way, there's been peaks and valleys where, I mean, I think Ethereum was down to, like, during the COVID thing, Ethereum got down to like $100.
What's your cash flow on your crypto every month?
It's not a cash flowing asset.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
I think
just kidding.
I'm a real estate guy and a flipper. I think if people want to get into a good investment, I think obviously, real estate's a good one. It's obviously easy.
Hold on, I got
You and I aren't rocket scientists, and we're doing pretty
1.8 GPA.
Yeah, you're one of the wealthiest guys that I know. You're one of the most successful guys that I know. Would you consider yourself to be a really, really sharp, smart guy?
No.
Okay. And then, I mean, look at all the people that are just whatever.
I'm glad you think the same way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a rocket scientist, but
no, but you're technically saying I'm not either.
Most of the people that that are the most successful, they're more like, go-getters and risk takers.
Well, I would just
think outside the box.
I would say there's a lot of people super, super duper smarter than me. I do not claim to be smart, but my best credit is I take action.
Right.
And I take action. And I make mistakes, and I keep taking action, and I make mistakes, and I keep taking action.
Yep.
So I'm not convinced of crypto. It doesn't have cash flow. You got one exit strategy. You can sell it if it goes up. If it goes down, you're probably going to hold on to it, hoping it's going to go up again, right? And then you're going to get greedy, hoping it goes up more than what you already have.
Right.
So you're going to hold on to it some more.
Yep.
And while I'm turning my money, flipping houses, buying houses, getting passive income, deferring my taxes, you're watching a graph. That's why I'm not convinced of crypto.
Yep.
And
it's probably not for you.
It's probably not. It is for me. If I have an extra bunch of money that I don't care about and I feel like, hey, you know what? We're starting our own crypto here and I'm going to regulate it. And it's tied to the real estate that I buy and it's tied to something that people could say, because I think that's how you get out there and you do it. You have to tie it to something.
Sure.
If there's no weight, like when we were taken off the gold standard in 1971 by Nixon, that's what's lost confidence in the U.S. economy. And then the other thing that lost confidence in the U.S. economy, and the reason that the stock market just propped up, you know why? Stocks went down to nothing. You know what propped them up?
Tell me.
The 401k. When Congress passed the 401k act, or whatever it is, the 401k bill, it made employers invest in the stock market. Therefore, employees put their money in the stock market. That's what propped up the stock market, okay?
Yeah.
So follow the money, but this is something I meant to bring up to, or maybe I did. I had Michelle Fiore on here earlier. She's running for governor.
Yeah.
But I said, do you realize that in Nevada, you know how much land is owned by the citizens of Nevada? 10%. You know how much in Texas is owned by them? 93%.
Wow. It's all BLM out here, right?
Right, because the federal government controls it, owns it, and it's not giving up that control or ownership. So that's why Texas has so much power in a race. So my whole point is, if you're gambling and you want to gamble and you want to invest and you want to make money, make a gamble by betting on yourself to find a good deal in real estate. If you want to take some of that money that you make in real estate, because you can actually predict that result, would you agree?
Sure.
You can predict your result in real estate.
Yeah.
You can just screw it up.
Right.
It's usually not in the market in real estate that screws you up. It's usually you or the person you hired.
Yeah. Pay too much.
Or you paid too much, or you miscalculated something.
Yep.
But you have no control over what happens with crypto. Would you agree? Do you have any control other than selling?
I mean, you can understand what the actual coins do. But see, here's the thing. Yeah. Some of the coins actually are spendable. Like that's the reason why I like XRP.
But you can't control if it goes up or down.
That's true.
That's my whole point. You might be able to control what you do, but you can't control whether it goes up or down. You can't control whether it goes up or down in real estate either, but you control how much you rent it for. You can control if you Airbnb it.
Sure.
You control if you can turn it into like a housing place where you can make more money that you would normally get for rent. You could, turn it into a rehabilitation house or a senior living house or all sorts of other things. Sure. But with crypto, you got one exit strategy.
But let me ask you this. So what's the average sales price of a house after you flip it these days? Just a cookie cutter house.
Me, I don't have an average. It would be so across the board.
For an entry level 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house.
In Kansas City?
No, in Vegas, let's just say.
Oh, in Vegas?
Maybe 300,000 right now.
No, it's higher than that. It's 340 right now.
Okay, 340. What was that house worth, let's say, in 2017 when I bought my crypto? Or in 2010 when
I know where you're going. You're going to lose this argument. Go ahead. Okay, so can you leverage crypto?
No. Actually, you can. You can buy on margin, but I don't recommend that.
Okay. So
my point is it's basically what, about doubled in value.
Okay.
And now crypto's gone up by like.
Let's take that argument. Go ahead.
Crypto's gone up by like how many? Some cases, hundreds of thousands of percent. Like I can't even do the math because I'm not that smart. I'm kind of like you. But when you take a big number like that's 60,000 and you multiply it by like a decimal 0.00000, I'm pretty sure you add those zeros on the back of how many times it's gone up.
Right.
So literally tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands percent gains were possible.
Where'd you get the 20 to put into the crypto?
Probably from my real estate job.
Definitely from the real estate job.
So, I definitely think, I'm flipping houses and I'm doing real estate for a reason because that's where you want to be. And that's where literally everybody's going. But, if you want to try to make like a good gamble, I think crypto's a good gamble for sure.
Have you learned a lot from working with Ryan?
Yeah.
What have you learned?
One of the biggest things that I learned from Ryan was, stop doing every single thing, especially things that you don't like to do. Like, in other words, if there's aspects of your job that you don't like, maybe find other people that you can collaborate with that like those aspects of the job. And so each person can work on their strong points. And so, I've kind of become more of a collaborator. And that was one of the best things that I really learned that helped serve me, in business.
Right. Trying to do everything yourself.
Yeah. Just trying to do everything myself because it's too hard to do everything by yourself.
You get burnt out.
Yeah. You definitely get burnt out.
Right. So if you're going to give people advice that are new, like our audience is between the ages of 17 to 40 years old, skewing male. We obviously have some females, but we skew 20% male and 20% female, 80% male. What advice would you give to a new investor besides subscribing to the Troy Kearns channel on YouTube, Instagram, social, giving this podcast because you're on it a 5-star review? What other advice would you give them?
I don't want your head to explode, but I would. It's pretty big already. But
it ain't big, dude. It's just big in actual form.
Don't get self-conscious. No, but you kind of started the social media game kind of late compared to some other people 100%. In the same field.
I said I swore it off. In fact, my first YouTube video was in 2010.
Yeah, and then you went on a little hiatus.
Yeah, just
a little bit. No, but having worked with you in the past and actually, being an insider there for a while and knowing what you've done and seeing the numbers and the volume, I would tell people that are watching your channel, just because you don't have, the huge following, which I know you will have, it's just a matter of time for you because you won't stop.
Right.
And it's about having that content out there and it explodes, it goes parabolic. But yeah, people should definitely pay close attention to what you're doing, because if they actually really want to learn about real estate, you're one of the key guys that can teach them. And it's not fluff. It's not fake. There's a lot of fluff and fake out there.
I appreciate you saying that. That's actually one of the inspirations for me, because when I saw Ryan start putting his stuff out there, at first I was hating on him. I was like, why is he putting his checks? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? And then finally I just reached out to him and I was like, man, I got to pick your brain. You're not dumb. I know you're a smart guy. And he told me, and he's like, he gave me like the whole formula. And I'm like, one of my goals, we just talked about the stock market, was to build a company and take it public. And I felt like the best way to show people that I'm able to do that, to get the people to come to me versus me walking in with my briefcase and giving presentations on PowerPoint and trying to set appointments, is to grow my social media presence, to let people, to build my personal brand and let them know, like, you've seen me.
You have to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, this is
where everybody's at.
Yeah. So that was just, I got tagged in I had just started dating my wife, and I got tagged in one of like a picture next to a girl or something like that. She wasn't even like giving me a hard time, but it just, there's all those tagging of people at that point in time that, like, when Facebook first started with the tagging, and you get tagged in this, tagged in that, tagged in this. And I was just like, you know what? And then I think they had done something where they were like, you know what, we're going to go into your phone and suck out all your information. And I was like, man, they are just getting too invasive. And I still think they are.
It's bad.
I still think they are, but you know what? Until I am in a position where I can change some of that, until I'm like, we can vote the right person in, or we can, make enough noise to get them to change that. Cause I do feel like, we are getting all of our information sucked out. They have too much control over what we see and what we see. I think it should be private. Maybe we'll start a ghost internet, me and you. There's plenty of those out there, but I mean, really, social is no choice. So that's what you're saying, is get involved in social and get involved in watching my social right now.
Yeah, I mean, you probably should. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm trying to get away from it a little bit, because it's very invasive. It's very addicting. I mean, it's the time that we're in, though. People are going to be on social. They're going to be on Facebook. They're going to be on YouTube.
Especially when you're trying to learn it. Because I'll tell you right now, I am definitely addicted. And it's not because of anything other than I'm in growth mode right now. Yeah. So I'm like watching all the time, how fast I'm doing. And I'm trying to make sure I respond to everybody's comment right now, because I know engagement is huge. So I am personally doing all of that myself right now. Even though I should hire that out eventually, but I want to learn the process so that I have it down. So, wrapping it up with you, what is the best piece of advice that you can give someone besides following my channel? We said that. What would be your go-to advice?
I mean, it just depends on what a person wants in life. But as far as as far as wealth, I would say,
well, they're listening to this channel, for money,
right? And I would say, every single YouTube channel and wannabe and guru and fake and hack out there will all give you all that stuff. But, don't lose sight of the fact that our greatest wealth is probably our health and our happiness. And that's something that people aren't touching on. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit like jaded, and not jaded, but it's just frustrating, all the fakeness on social media. And, that's why I've told you, I'm not a huge money hungry person. I mean, I've been pretty successful, and it's not about just how much you make, it's how much you keep. And what I've always found is that, the money doesn't make me happy. So people should pursue wealth, and you got to have money, and you want to be able to support your family and support your kids and leave a legacy if you can. But don't lose sight of the fact that there's more to life than just money, a dollar that's worth 2 cents, that they're printing quadrillions of them, Right. So I would say, for me, that's what I would want to make sure people focus on, is don't just think that you're going to get wealthy and then your life's going to be amazing, because there's more to life than money.
That's a great piece of advice. I'm glad that you said it, because I think that you're the perfect person to say that, because I do believe that comes from your heart. And the fact that you just said those exact words, we both just said we were sick and everything like that. And when I was sick, I felt like, man, when you're sick, you're helpless.
Yeah.
And, you realize that, the most important people is your family, and the most important people, and the most important thing after that is your health. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice. The best way to take care of yourself health-wise is
exercise
and nutrition, and educating yourself, and having the money to buy the right type of food.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right. We just stopped by Whole Foods, got some kombucha this morning, a little bit. You know what kombucha is?
Kombucha?
Why are you trying to make me look stupid? I'm just kidding. I just messed it. Did I say it wrong? Kombucha? Whatever. I bought it.
I know what it is.
Kombucha. I love that stuff. I drink it all the time. I probably say it wrong all the time.
Eat green vegetables.
Yep. Eat your greens. Eat your greens. Eat your greens. All right, guys. It was a pleasure having you here, man.
Thanks
I'm
for
glad
having
you
me.
stopped
Appreciate
by. It was a cool conversation.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get into real estate, follow Jason at
You can follow me on my YouTube channel. It's just Jason Wheeler.
Jason Wheeler, and definitely give us a 5-star rating on this podcast. Share this podcast with a friend. Go watch the podcast.
How do you give a 5-star rating?
You just hit 5 stars on the rating.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So just go to the podcast, do a 5-star, download it, listen to it. If you actually want to watch it on YouTube, we actually have a channel for all of our podcasts as well. If you want to have Jason back, let us know in the comments, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.